Have you ever walked past loose change on the ground and thought it was worthless? What if I told you that a simple 1973 United States $quarter coin, something you might find lying unnoticed in an old jar or in a dusty drawer, could actually be worth a whopping $195 or more today? Welcome to the channel where rare finds turn into real money and history comes alive through coins that many people overlook. The 1973 quarter might appear ordinary to the untrained eye, bearing the familiar profile of George Washington on the obverse and the stately eagle on the reverse, but its value lies beneath the surface, in its rare minting errors, historical context, and collector demand. Minted during a time of shifting technology and evolving coinage standards, the 1973 quarter has become a prime example of how even a single production year can hide remarkable numismatic treasures. Unlike some years that produced nothing but typical circulation strikes, 1973 delivered a small batch of quarters that deviated from the norm in shocking and fascinating ways. Some specimens were struck on wrong planchets, meaning they were accidentally minted on metal blanks intended for other denominations such as nickels, dimes, or even foreign coins, and this dramatically altered their weight, appearance, and value. Imagine holding a quarter that feels lighter, looks off in color, or doesn't quite have the right ring to it when dropped. That could be one of these rare errors. Others were struck off center, missing partial designs, which created one-of-a-kind visuals that serious collectors hunt for. Then there are those with double dies, where a slight shift in the hubbing process caused Washington's profile or inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust to appear shadowed or blurry. These doubling errors can push the value up dramatically depending on how severe and noticeable the effect is. Also, in a handful of reported cases, some 1973 quarters showed strong clashing of dies, resulting in ghost images of the reverse design appearing on the obverse or vice versa, creating an eerie and extremely rare visual that numismatists prize. To add to the coin's allure, a few proof-like or high-grade MS, mint state, examples have survived in astonishing condition due to hoarding or lucky preservation, especially from rolls or mint sets opened years later. Coins graded MS-67 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC are exceedingly scarce and can fetch hundreds of dollars on the auction block. These pristine examples show sharp details, gleaming surfaces, and zero signs of circulation, essentially time capsules from 1973. The Philadelphia and Denver mints were the only facilities producing quarters that year, with no official 1973 quarters struck at San Francisco for general circulation, which makes finding any S-mint-marked quarter from this year potentially indicative of a private error or anomaly. This has sparked speculation and excitement among treasure hunters and collectors, always on the lookout for a misstruck or mysterious coin that escaped quality control. And then, of course, we dive into the historical context. 1973 was a year steeped in transformation. The United States was grappling with the aftermath of the Vietnam War, the Watergate scandal was unraveling, and inflation was beginning to change how Americans thought about their money. This coin, minted amid uncertainty and change, carries the invisible weight of that era. People want a piece of that history, and what better way to own it than through something tangible like a quarter minted in those turbulent yet iconic times. Collectors love narrative, and the 1973 quarter offers plenty, from eras that defied standardization to being minted in a politically tense era that shaped modern America. And if you're still wondering why this coin is being sold for as much as $195, consider this: demand. Online auction platforms and coin shows frequently feature fierce bidding wars over well-preserved or rare-era 1973 quarters. Even average circulated examples can see a bump in value if they show minor minting anomalies. As awareness grows and more people begin to understand the hidden potential in these everyday coins, prices have continued to climb. What was once dismissed as pocket change is now being re-evaluated as portable art, historical artifact, and investment. The market isn't slowing down either. Social media, YouTube, and numismatic influencers have fueled a renaissance in coin collecting, and coins like the 1973 quarter are now stars in viral videos and online posts showcasing eye-popping auction results and discoveries in Grandma's attic. So the next time you handle a quarter, look closely. Flip it, study it, check its mint mark, scrutinize the details with a magnifying glass, and weigh it if you can. What you hold may not just be worth 25 cents, it might be a hidden treasure worth $195 or more, depending on its story. It's not just about age or design, it's the unexpected quirks, the anomalies, the condition, and the timing that make the difference. Keep your eyes peeled, your curiosity alive, and your coins in a safe place, because history and value often come in the form of something as small and familiar as a 1973 quarter dollar. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into rare coin value. If you enjoyed uncovering the secrets of the 1973 quarter with us and want to keep discovering more hidden gems and shocking coin values, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a future treasure hunt. Next, have you ever come across a coin that looks like any other loose change in your pocket, yet it holds a secret value that could stun collectors and numismatists around the world? Welcome to a fascinating dive into the story of the 1989 quarter dollar USA coin, a seemingly ordinary piece of currency minted in Denver that has taken the collector world by storm due to its mysterious rise in historical and monetary worth, now valued at a surprising $149. A face value increase that makes this coin more than just pocket change, but rather a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. In this thrilling exploration, we'll take you through the journey of how the 1989 quarter dollar achieved its cult status among coin hunters, antique enthusiasts, and numismatic circles across the globe, tracing its path from mass circulation to rare collectability, while uncovering the factors, flaws, minting quirks, and backstory that all contributed to transforming this 25-cent coin into a valuable artifact worth big money in American monetary history. First, let's unravel the economic backdrop and minting conditions of the late 1980s. 1989 was a time of shifting economic priorities, technological advancements, and evolving mint standards. The U.S. Mint in Denver, responsible for issuing coins bearing the DE mint mark, struck hundreds of millions of quarters that year, most of which entered routine circulation with no fanfare. However, a small number of these quarters came off the mint presses with anomalies, subtle die errors, doubled designs, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, weak strikes, repunched mint marks, and even transitional issues that escaped detection at the time. These variations, often overlooked by the average person, became the heart of what makes a coin valuable: rarity, uniqueness, and demand. Over time, collectors began noticing unusual features in certain 1989 quarters, like slight doubling in Washington's profile, incomplete lettering, misaligned dies creating eccentric rim shapes, or coins that featured faint remnants of earlier die states, signaling a flaw during the striking process. While most quarters from this era remained face value fodder, these flawed or special examples slowly gained attention, especially when paired with pristine condition or full original mint luster, propelling them into higher auction brackets. Coin grading agencies like PCGS and NGC began seeing submissions of 1989 quarters that earned MS65 or better grades, and as more numismatists discovered rare errors and high-grade survivors, the prices began rising, not overnight, but gradually and steadily, until $149 became a realistic, even conservative value for well-preserved or error-bearing examples. But why this specific coin? Why would one 1989 quarter be worth so much more than others? The answer lies in the convergence of a few key traits. First, mint errors that are relatively scarce compared to the massive mintage. Second, pristine condition despite being over 3 decades old. Third, the growing nostalgia and demand from collectors seeking late 20th century coins with distinctive qualities. The beauty of coin collecting lies in the thrill of the hunt, where ordinary can suddenly become extraordinary with the right combination of time, knowledge, and discovery. Many of these $149 value 1989 quarters are discovered in old bank rolls, inherited coin jars, estate collections, or even flea markets, passed off as common until a sharp eye detects the slight discrepancies that mark them as rare. Let's delve deeper into some of the most sought-after errors, such as double die averse, DDO, where the inscription or date appears shadowed, indicating a second impression from the die, or off-center strikes that cause partial designs to fall off the coin's surface, making them visually unique and therefore more desirable. Other errors include broad strikes, where the collar die failed and allowed metal to expand beyond the normal shape, or repunched mint marks where a secondary D appears faintly above or below the first. Even a simple misalignment of die components could cause noticeable shifts in the coin's imagery or rim, again turning what would be a flaw in a production line into a prize in the hands of a collector. Then there's the matter of wear and condition. Coins with sharp detail, minimal contact marks, no post-mint damage, and full original luster fetch higher valuations. Coins in mint state condition are often encapsulated and preserved in protective holders, giving collectors confidence in their authenticity and quality. The surge in online auctions, coin appraisal platforms, and collector communities on forums and social media has only fueled this trend, with some sellers fetching prices exceeding $149 depending on the error type and coin grade. What's even more fascinating is how average Americans are now combing through their change drawers and coin jars hoping to stumble upon a valuable 1989 decorder, spurred on by viral stories and coin collecting influencers who highlight jaw-dropping auction prices and rare finds. This frenzy has ignited a modern-day treasure hunt across the country, transforming grocery store change, vending machine returns, and dusty dresser drawers into potential gold mines. While not every 1989 decorder is worth big money, the potential to find one that is keeps the hope alive. But even more than that, it connects people to a broader story of history, minting evolution, and personal discovery. Every valuable coin has a story to tell, not just about itself, but about the era it came from, the people who handled it, the technology that minted it, and the mystery that made it stand out. The 1989 decorder is a symbol of how overlooked pieces of our daily lives can hold extraordinary value, waiting for the right pair of eyes to reveal their worth. It teaches us that rarity isn't always obvious, and history isn't always hidden in books. It can be found jingling in your pocket, lying in a drawer, or tucked inside a forgotten piggy bank. Collectors now hunt for the 1989 decorder with renewed urgency, some acquiring magnifying glasses and high-resolution macro lenses just to inspect their finds, others investing in coin reference books or attending coin shows to gain expertise. The market for rare coins continues to evolve, with younger collectors joining the fray, encouraged by the thrill of discovery and the tangible connection to the past that coin collecting provides. The 1989 decorder story proves that not all treasure maps are drawn in ink. Sometimes, they're etched in metal and marked by a tiny mint letter that most people would never notice. If you happen to come across one of these quarters, take a closer look. You could be holding a piece of American monetary history that has climbed far beyond its 25-cent origins. And that's the magic of numismatics. The art of seeing value where others see none, of recognizing significance in the smallest of details, and of preserving fragments of time that others might dismiss as ordinary. So the next time you receive a quarter in change, don't just drop it in a jar or spend it without thought. Examine it, appreciate it, and remember the tale of the 1989 decorder dollar, a 25-cent piece with a $149 legacy. Because you never know when history might be hiding in your hand. If you found this story intriguing, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more rare coin explorations, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another story of hidden treasures in everyday currency. Next, today, we're diving into the fascinating and potentially lucrative world of the 1983 decorder dollar coin, a piece that may appear mundane to the casual observer but actually hides a history full of mistakes, minting errors, and collector intrigue that can boost its value up to an astonishing $106 or even more. So make sure you watch till the end, because what looks like just another coin in your change jar might just be the jackpot you've been overlooking all this time. And it all begins with a single mint mark, a year, and a story layered with mystery, technical minting challenges, and growing demand from numismatists who have been hunting this coin with increasing interest since its value started rising in online auctions, collector forums, and coin expos across the country. all sparked by the particular characteristics of its flaws that have transformed it from a simple piece of currency to a potential collector's dream. And as we explore this coin's backstory, we must first understand why the year 1983 in itself is significant to coin collectors, because it was a year marred by economic transitions and minting challenges, particularly due to the U.S. Mint's decision to halt the production of mint sets for the general public, meaning that fewer high-quality specimens of circulation coins like the 1983 D quarter were preserved in pristine condition. And this scarcity of uncirculated versions automatically increased the appeal and value of coins from this year among those who prize condition above all else. But the true allure of the 1983 D quarter lies not just in scarcity but in the fascinating errors that occurred during its production at the Denver Mint, and these errors are what elevate it into the realm of numismatic notoriety, starting with the most commonly reported and visually dramatic issue known as the clipped planchet, where a coin appears to have a portion of its circular shape sliced off due to a misfeed in the blanking press, resulting in a quarter that's physically incomplete and instantly eye-catching to collectors looking for such mint-made abnormalities. And then we encounter another prized error, the doubled die, a type of error that occurs when the die used to stamp the coin has been imprinted with a misaligned or double image, leading to visible doubling in areas such as the date, the mint mark, or the lettering like Liberty and In God We Trust, which can appear slightly blurred or ghosted, and when such doubling occurs clearly and prominently, it significantly boosts the coin's appeal to collectors who see such defects as rare and desirable quirks that make their collections unique, especially since the 1983 D double die varieties are relatively few and far between, further inflating their potential value in private sales and public auctions alike. And continuing with errors, we delve into off-center strikes. Another fascinating mint error where the coin's design is shifted noticeably to one side because it wasn't properly centered during striking, creating a lopsided image that is both visually interesting and valuable depending on how far off-center the strike is, with more dramatic off-centers generally fetching higher prices, especially if all date and mint-mark information is still visible. And what makes the 1983 D quarter particularly interesting is how these off-center strikes from this year tend to also include flattening or distortion around the rim, adding another layer of uniqueness to each flawed coin. And moving on, we also must mention die cracks and cuds, which are errors that occur due to wear or damage on the die itself, leading to raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin that weren't part of the original design, with die cracks appearing like thin veins usually running through parts of Washington's face or along the reverse design of the eagle, while cuds are more dramatic, appearing as raised blob-like features often along the rim where the die failed to strike properly due to a chip or break. And because these errors reflect the physical deterioration of the minting equipment, they are almost like fossilized footprints in the metal, capturing the moment something went wrong at the mint in a way that fascinates historians and collectors alike. And we should also mention repunched mint marks, RPMs, where the D mint mark appears to have been stamped more than once in slightly different positions due to alignment corrections during the die preparation process. And collectors who seek out RPMs in 1983 D quarters often pay premiums when the doubling is clear and strong under magnification. And now we must talk about the planchet composition itself. As in the early 1980s, the U.S. Mint was experimenting and adjusting to copper-nickel clad compositions, and though most quarters post-1965 share a similar layered structure, some 1983 D quarters are rumored to have been struck on transitional planchets intended for other denominations or experimental runs, and though these are exceedingly rare, they've been confirmed in other years, and collectors keep a close eye on weight discrepancies or unusual colorations that might hint at such a composition anomaly in the 1983 D issue as well. And speaking of colorations, toning plays a surprising role in how valuable a 1983 D quarter might become. Because natural toning caused by storage environments, such as rainbow hues or deep blues and purples, can significantly increase interest from collectors who value aesthetic uniqueness alongside technical errors, and such toning, when paired with a high-grade mint error, can turn an otherwise average coin into a highly desirable centerpiece. And this brings us to grading, because the value of any coin, especially error coins, is heavily influenced by its condition or grade as assessed by professional organizations like PCGS or NGC. And 1983 decorders that exhibit mint errors in grades MS65 and above are relatively rare due to the coin's age and the fact that most were heavily circulated, so when such coins do surface, particularly with multiple errors or dramatic strikes, they can sell for hundreds of dollars or more depending on the buyer's interest, and auction data over recent years supports this valuation with some 1983 decorder errors fetching between $80 and $200, especially when listed with clear images, verified certifications, and detailed descriptions that draw attention to their uniqueness. And because of the growing influence of online marketplaces like eBay and dedicated coin auction sites, even casual collectors have been getting in on the action, combing through old pocket change or inherited coin jars in search of these tiny metal anomalies that could yield unexpectedly large payouts. And this rise in public interest has also led to more awareness of counterfeit errors. Coins that have been altered post-mint to mimic genuine mint errors. So it's essential to authenticate any coin that appears unusual through professional grading services if you intend to sell or invest seriously. And beyond all this, part of the 1983 decorder's mystique lies in the stories behind individual discoveries, like a collector who found a double-struck 1983 decorder in their grandfather's drawer and sold it for over $120. Or another who discovered a 30% off center example at a flea market for under $1, later auctioning it off for $175. And these stories only further fuel the hunt, reinforcing the idea that real treasures can lie hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone with a keen eye and a bit of numismatic knowledge to recognize them. And that's why so many people are drawn to coins like the 1983 decorder, not just for the monetary potential, but for the thrill of discovery, the chase, and the connection to a piece of American minting history that, through a combination of human error, mechanical flaws, and economic circumstances, became far more than just a 25-cent piece. And the more you study and learn about the possibilities of what makes a coin valuable, the clipped planchets, doubled dies, off-center strikes, die breaks, cuds, repunched mint marks, transitional planchets, unusual toning, or high-grade conditions, the more empowered you become to recognize value where others might not even look. So if you have a 1983 decorder lying around or come across one in circulation, take a close look, examine its surfaces, edges, and details, maybe weigh it, maybe even submit it for professional evaluation, because that unassuming coin might just carry an error that transforms it from pocket change to prized possession. And whether you're a seasoned collector or a curious beginner, coins like this offer a unique opportunity to engage with history, craftsmanship, and the economy all in one, and they remind us that even the smallest objects can hold immense stories and surprising value, so keep searching, keep learning, and keep your eyes open for the next great find. Because the next time you look down at your spare change, you might just be looking at $106 in the form of a flawed but fascinating 1983 decorder dollar coin that proves once again that rarity, error, and history are the recipe for treasure. So if you found this journey into coin values and minting mysteries exciting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss another deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins and unexpected riches. Next, today we're about to dive deep into the fascinating world of the 1992 quarter dollar coin, a coin that may appear to be just another common piece of pocket change but has stunned collectors and historians alike by fetching up to $152 due to a variety of rare errors and striking mistakes that make it a highly desirable piece in the world of rare coins. And in this journey, we will uncover how such an unsuspecting coin reached a legendary status in coin collections, auctions, and numismatic lore, and how understanding these anomalies can help you not only appreciate the craftsmanship and complexity of coin minting but potentially spot a high-value rarity among your own loose change. And we begin with a close look at the context in which the 1992 quarter was minted, a year where the United States Mint was undergoing technological and production transitions, increasing the likelihood of die-related errors, planchet issues, and misalignments due to pressure for high-volume output. And as Philadelphia was the origin of this particular coin marked with the P mint mark, the immense quantity minted that year, reaching hundreds of millions, meant quality control became an increasingly difficult challenge to maintain consistently, and with high-speed production lines and aging die equipment, it's not surprising that several errors slipped through the rigorous screening processes. And among the most notable and valuable errors observed in the 1992 P quarter are double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, weak strikes, and even some dramatic broad-struck errors where the coin was not properly seated within the collar during striking, allowing it to expand outward with a warped appearance. Each of these errors carries its own rarity and contributes differently to the coin's value depending on severity and visibility. And for instance, the double die obverse error is one that particularly excites collectors, where the design elements, especially the word liberty, the date, and the motto "I in God we trust," appear slightly duplicated due to misalignment during the hubbing process. This optical anomaly creates a shadowy or echoed look around the letters and is highly sought after, especially in uncirculated condition. And speaking of condition, it's critical to note that the coin's grade plays a huge role in determining its final value. As coins with minimal wear and strong luster often command the highest prices, sometimes pushing well beyond the average $152 depending on the market and buyer interest, but even circulated coins with strong error visibility can still demand impressive amounts. And moving on, another error type frequently reported with the 1992 P quarter is the off-center strike, where the coin's design is misaligned due to an improperly positioned blank during the strike, and when this error is pronounced, say, with 10 to 20% of the design missing, it becomes an eye-catching piece that many collectors hunt for, particularly when the date and mint mark are still fully visible, which makes the coin not just rare but also easily attributable, adding even more to its desirability. And let's not overlook the clipped planchet errors, where a portion of the coin appears as if it's been bitten off due to a misfeed in the blanking press process, resulting in crescent-shaped missing segments that immediately signal to the trained eye that the coin is something special. And although these errors occur across many denominations and years, finding one on a 1992 P quarter in good condition is uncommon, and as such, it often fetches prices well beyond face value, sometimes exponentially so depending on the size and location of the clip. And then there are the die cracks, fine raised lines that occur when a die used to strike coins begins to fracture, causing the metal to flow into the crack during minting and creating raised veins or lines on the surface of the coin. And on the 1992 P quarter, these cracks often appear on Washington's neck, across his hair, or even in the eagle's wings on the reverse. And these varieties, known affectionately among collectors as spider cracks or lightning bolts, can transform an ordinary coin into an exciting find, especially when multiple cracks are present or when they occur in aesthetically unique ways. And while die cracks alone might not always yield a $152 valuation, when combined with high-grade preservation or other errors, their cumulative effect can be impressive. And broad-struck errors offer yet another intriguing anomaly, caused when the coin is struck outside the confines of its collar, leading to a stretched or warped appearance that resembles a disc more than a perfectly circular coin. And such errors often result in a lack of reeded edges and a distorted but complete design, which significantly enhances its collectability. And these broad-struck coins are often preserved due to their dramatic appearance, making them less likely to be spent and more likely to end up in private collections or high-profile auctions. And among the more obscure yet still exciting mistakes are planchet composition errors, such as instances where a quarter is accidentally struck on the wrong type of blank, such as a dime planchet, resulting in undersized quarters missing significant design elements due to the reduced surface area. And these types of errors are exceedingly rare and can easily push the coin's value into the hundreds or even thousands depending on confirmation by a reputable grading agency like PCGS or NGC. And part of the intrigue surrounding the 1992 P quarter is the range of subtle errors that aren't immediately visible to the untrained eye, such as weak strikes caused by worn dies or improper striking pressure, leading to coins where details appear faint or washed out. And while some collectors dismiss these as wear-related, experts know that identifying a true weak strike from simple wear requires detailed examination of high points and legends, and when verified, such coins can be quietly valuable, especially in the eyes of specialists focused on minting process anomalies. And to add yet another layer to the story, there are coins that exhibit rotated dies, where the reverse image does not line up properly with the obverse when flipped, and although mild die rotations are not uncommon, significant rotations, say 30 degrees or more, on a 1992 P quarter are rare enough to drive strong interest from serious buyers, and when certified by a grading service, rotated die quarters can pull values that rival or exceed even the more visually dramatic errors. And let's not forget the role that provenance plays in the collectible market, because if a particular 1992 P quarter with an error has been featured in coin magazines, exhibitions, or auction catalogs, its value can soar based on historical and collector recognition alone, making it not just a piece of metal but a storied artifact. And this recognition often leads to bidding wars and private sales that exceed guide prices or standard catalog valuations. And looking at market trends, demand for era coins has only increased as more collectors enter the field seeking affordable yet intriguing entry points into the hobby. And the 1992 P quarter, with its array of potential minting errors and relatively recent mintage date, serves as a perfect specimen for budding numismatists hoping to identify hidden gems in their change jars or coin rolls. And platforms like eBay and dedicated coin auction sites have recorded consistent sales in the $100 to $200 range for verified error specimens, with some exceptional examples going even higher, particularly when accompanied by clear photographic documentation and third-party authentication. And it's worth noting that the price of $152 is not arbitrary but based on actual market activity and collector demand. And what sets the 1992 P quarter apart is the combination of factors: the mass minting, the range of errors, the transitional era in minting practices, and the increased awareness among modern collectors, that create an ideal storm of interest and value. And as more of these coins are pulled from circulation and added to private collections, their scarcity in the wild only increases, further raising potential future values. And so if you're holding a 1992 P quarter or come across one in your pocket change, give it a second, third, and even fourth look. Because those seemingly minor blemishes or misalignments might be your ticket to owning a slice of numismatic history worth significantly more than its humble face value. And for those interested in investing time and attention into identifying errors, tools like magnifying glasses, coin reference books, and submission to grading services are all worth considering, especially when the reward could be financial as well as educational. And in closing, this story of the 1992 P quarter is a reminder that incredible value can hide in plain sight, and that every coin has a journey, a chance at being remarkable, and a potential to surprise. So next time you hear that familiar clink of spare change, listen closely. It might be trying to tell you something. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of America's most intriguing coins and want to hear more stories like this about coins that changed lives, sparked bidding wars, and defied expectations, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell so you never miss another hidden treasure story in your coin collecting journey. Last, today we're about to take you on a numismatic journey like no other, unraveling the mysteries and hidden wealth behind the iconic 1986 P quarter dollar coin, which at first glance might look like just another piece of everyday change, but in reality, due to a combination of astonishing minting errors, historical context, and collector demand, can command a price of up to $168 or more in certain conditions. And understanding why this coin, minted at the Philadelphia Mint in 1986, is so sought after by coin collectors and investors alike requires us to go back and explore not only the minting process and the coin's physical features but also the economic, industrial, and procedural conditions that led to its production and eventual recognition as a minor treasure in the world of coin collecting. And it's worth noting that while millions of these coins were struck and released into circulation, only a select number possessed the unique traits, anomalies, and mint-induced errors that contribute to their unexpected market value, beginning with the very foundation of minting errors, which can range from the subtle to the spectacular, from die cracks and off-center strikes to double dies, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and more. And in the case of the 1986 P quarter, A number of these types of errors have been observed and cataloged by professional graders and hobbyist collectors, creating an aura of excitement and speculative interest around this particular coin. One of the most commonly reported and visually striking errors being the off-center strike, which occurs when the coin blank or planchet is not properly seated in the coin press, causing the resulting image to be stamped significantly off from the center and leaving a portion of the coin blank, which dramatically increases its collectability depending on how far off-center the image is, with more extreme examples fetching higher prices due to their rarity and aesthetic appeal, and this error on a 1986p quarter can elevate its value from pocket change to hundreds of dollars, particularly if it retains good condition and has a well-centered misalignment that still displays key identifying features like the date and mint mark. And another significant error known to affect this coin is the double die, where the coin's design appears double due to a misalignment during the die hubbing process. Most commonly seen on the obverse side in the motto, "In God We Trust," or the word "Liberty," or even on Washington's profile itself, and collectors go wild for such errors, especially when the doubling is clear and strong, as it represents a mistake in the actual creation of the die used to strike thousands of coins, meaning more than one specimen may exist with the same error, thereby creating a subcategory of collectible coins that share a common anomaly. And then there are die cracks and cuds, which are physical breaks in the die used to mint the coin and appear as raised lines or blobs on the coin's surface. And in the case of the 1986p quarter, die cracks can often be seen extending from the rim through the lettering or the bust of George Washington, sometimes even forming dramatic and unusual shapes that collectors nickname due to their appearance, such as lightning strike, cracks, or Scarface cuds, all of which boost the coin's desirability due to the unique fingerprint-like nature of these errors. And speaking of planchet flaws, there have been instances where 1986p quarters were struck on defective or incorrect planchets, such as those that are underweight, overweight, or even composed of wrong metal alloys due to mishaps in planchet sourcing or leftover blanks from other denominations or minting years being accidentally used. And a well-documented example is when a quarter is struck on a nickel or foreign planchet, which not only alters the coin's weight but also gives it a noticeably different tone and ring when flipped. And such errors, although extremely rare, have been authenticated and valued highly by coin grading services and auction houses. And even minor but unusual misalignments or machine doubling, where the design appears blurred or shadowed due to mechanical slippage, can contribute to a coin's value if it is significant and visible to the naked eye. And it's worth exploring how the 1986 Philadelphia Mint was operating at the time, where high-volume production and aging equipment may have contributed to a higher than normal frequency of striking anomalies, with increased demand for quarters during the mid-1980s leading to ramped-up production and less stringent quality control, especially during night shifts or high-pressure quotas. And such systemic factors can explain why more errors seem to occur in certain minting periods, making the 1986p quarter ripe for error discovery. And in addition to errors, one must also consider condition and eye appeal as contributing factors to this coin's value, where uncirculated or mint state specimens with errors are worth far more than circulated examples, and coins graded MS65 or above by services such as PCGS or NGC can command premium prices, particularly when coupled with notable errors. And even coins with slight toning or lustrous surfaces free from scratches and dings are more likely to attract collectors, and provenance also plays a role, with coins from known hoards or previous auctions creating pedigree interest that adds intangible value. And the collector community is always on the lookout for new varieties or previously undocumented errors, which means even now, nearly 4 decades after its release, the 1986p quarter continues to be examined under magnifying glasses, digital microscopes, and in collector forums for previously unnoticed anomalies. And the appeal of owning a piece of American history that escaped the normal quality assurance net is one of the key psychological factors that drives value in the error coin market, creating a sense of rarity, uniqueness, and mystique. And in recent years, social media and YouTube have contributed significantly to the popularization of such coins, with viral videos and reels showcasing seemingly ordinary coins being sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, sparking a modern-day treasure hunt that brings renewed attention to old pocket change. And this trend is particularly strong in younger collectors and casual enthusiasts who are inspired by stories of coins like the 1986 p quarter making their way from junk drawers to eBay listings fetching surprising sums. And let's not forget the symbolic and historical aspects of this coin, featuring the familiar profile of George Washington, which has become an icon of American currency, and the date 1986 falling within an era that many current collectors feel nostalgic for, thereby adding emotional and generational value to the physical artifact. And as with many coins that achieve fame due to their quirks, the market around the 1986 p quarter is also influenced by supply and demand dynamics, where increased attention to a specific type of error leads to an uptick in submissions to grading services and a temporary boom in prices, followed by stabilization as the rarity of the error becomes better understood, and those who are savvy in the hobby often try to get ahead of these waves, identifying coins with potential before they become widely recognized, and the 1986 p quarter has been one of those sleeper coins that, over time, has amassed a quiet but solid reputation among insiders as a coin to watch, especially as more discoveries emerge and documentation grows. And in practical terms, this means that anyone with a jar of coins at home or access to circulation currency could theoretically stumble upon one of these error-rich quarters and find themselves holding something that's worth not 25 cents, but well over $100, sometimes more depending on market trends and condition. And while it's easy to dismiss the idea of valuable coins in circulation, the reality is that many collectors report finding such treasures in everyday transactions, coin rolls from banks, or inherited stashes of old change, and the thrill of such a find is what keeps the numismatic community alive with curiosity, research, and endless discussion. So if you're holding on to a 1986 p quarter, take a close look, check for the telltale signs of doubling, misstrikes, cracks, cuds, or unusual weight and metal tone, and consider having it evaluated by a professional grading service if you suspect it may be a valuable specimen, because in the world of coin collecting, knowledge and attention to detail can quite literally pay off, and whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a curious beginner, the story of the 1986 p quarter proves that treasure often comes in the most unexpected forms, and that history, art, craftsmanship, and error can combine to create something worth far more than its face value. And as always, we invite you to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more in-depth explorations of rare coins and currency anomalies, and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on the next coin that might just change your life or your collection forever.